Good evening. Thank you for being here. This is the class on Srimad Bhagavatam. We've been doing now for a couple of years or more. Ever since the COVID virus affected us, we stopped doing it physically, started doing it kind of electronically. So we're glad everybody's here. And for those of you who see it in the future on YouTube or whatever version, Facebook or whatever you see, thank you very much for joining us. So tonight we're going to be reading from Srimad Bhagavatam chapter 39, which is entitled Akrura's Vision, and then also chapter 40, which is Akrura's Prayer. So these are very, very beautiful prayers, and I always start out by offering my respectful obeisances and to my spiritual master, Srila Prabhupada. So chant with me, Nama Om Vishnu Padaya, Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale, Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swaminiti Namane, Namaste Saraswati Devim, Gaudavani Pritcharani, Nirvishesha Shunyavari Paschadjini Shatani. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda, Shri Advaita Giridhara, Shivasri Gaura Bhaktivinoda, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. And chant with me, Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya, Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya, Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Jai Srimad Bhagavatam Ki Jai. I'll start out as usual. I'll read the first 10 or so. And then if you don't mind, please pick up from there. And you guys pick up 10 or so. And we'll go around in a circle and see if anybody else shows up. So, text 1, Sukadeva Goswami said, having been honored so much by Lord Balaram and Lord Krishna, Akrura, seated comfortably on a couch, felt that all the desires he had contemplated on the road were now fulfilled. My dear king, what is unattainable for one who has satisfied the Supreme Personality of Godhead, the shelter of the Goddess of Fortune? Even so, those who are dedicated to his devotional service never want anything from him. After the evening meal, Lord Krishna, the son of Devaki, asked Akrura how Kamsa was treating their dear relatives and friends and what the king was planning to do. The Supreme Lord said, my dear, gentle uncle Akrura, was your trip here comfortable? May all good fortune be yours. Are our well-wishing friends and our relatives, both close and distant, happy and in good health? But, my dear Akrura, as long as King Kamsa, the disease of our family, who goes by the name, quote, maternal uncle, unquote, is still prospering, why should I even bother to ask about the well-being of our family members and his other subjects? Just see how much suffering I have caused. My offenseless parents, because of me, their sons were killed, and they themselves imprisoned. By good fortune, we have today filled our desire to see you, our dear relative. Oh, gentle uncle, please tell us why you have come. Sukadeva Goswami said, in response to the Supreme Lord's request, Akrura, the descendant of Madhu, described the whole situation, including King Kamsa's enmity toward the Yadus and his attempt to murder Vasudeva. Akrura relayed the message he had been sent to deliver. He also described Kamsa's real intentions and how Narada had informed Kamsa that Krishna had been born as the son of Vasudeva. Lord Krishna and Lord Balaram, the vanquisher of heroic opponents, laughed when they heard Akrura's words. The Lord then informed their father Nanda Maharaj of King Kamsa's orders. So who'd like to pick up where Nanda Maharaj begins to speak? Text 11 and 12. Normally we try to get...
I'll pick it up.
Yeah, Jack Krishna, please do in case your signal falls off. We don't want to lose you.
No. That rarely happens. But I had a lot of medical tests done yesterday and today, and they took biopsies out of my throat. So I'll try to make 10. If I'm sounding bad, somebody stop me.
Go easy.
Okay, brother.
Okay.
Excuse me. Nanda Maharaj then issued orders to the cowherd men by having the village constable make the following announcement throughout Nanda's domain of Braja. Go collect all the available milk products. Bring valuable gifts and yoke for your wagons. Tomorrow we shall go to Mathura, present our milk products to the king, and see a very great festival. The residents of all outlying districts are also going. When the young gopis heard that Akrura had come to Braja to take Krishna and Balaram to the city, they became extremely distressed. Some gopis felt so pained at heart that their faces turned pale from their heavy breathing. Others were so anguished excuse me, that their dresses, bracelets, and braids became loose. Other gopis entirely stopped their sensory activities and became fixed in meditation on Krishna. They lost all awareness of the external world, just like those who attained the platform of self realization. And still other young women fainted simply by remembering the words of Lord Sir Krishna. These words, decorated with wonderful phrases and expressed with affectionate smiles, would deeply touch young girls' hearts. The gopis were frightened by the prospect of even the briefest separation from Lord Mukunda. So now they remembered his graceful gait, his pastimes, his affectionate smiling glances, his heroic deeds, and his joking words, which relieved them their distress. They were beside themselves with anxiety at the thought of the great separation about to come. They gathered in groups and spoke to one another, their faces covered with tears and their minds fully absorbed in Achyuta. The gopi said, O Providence, you have no mercy. You'll bring embodied creatures together in friendship and love them senselessly, separate them before they fulfill their desires. This whimsical play of yours is like a child's game. Having shown him a Mukunda face framed with dark locks and beautified by his fine cheeks, where his nose and gentle smiles, which eradicated all misery, you are now making a face invisible. Their behavior, yours, is not all good. Excuse me, my throat's they took biopsies out. That's all I can do.
Okay. That's understandable. Thanks for that. May Krishna bless you with good healing, quick, expedient recovery. So, who would like to read next? Maharaj,
I
you
can
want to?
read.
Yeah, please.
O Providence, though you come here with the name Akrura, you are indeed cruel. For like a fool, you are taking away what you once gave us. Okay, O Providence. Those eyes with which we have seen even in one feature of Lord Mukunda's form, the perfection of your entire creation. Alas, Nanda's son, who breaks loving friendships in a second, will not even look directly at us. Forcibly brought under his control, we abandon our homes or relatives, children, and husbands just to serve him. But he is always looking for new lovers. The dawn following this night will certainly be auspicious for the women of Mathura. All their hopes will now be fulfilled. For as the Lord of Braja enters their city, they will be able to drink from his face the nectar of the smile emanating from the corners of his eyes. O Gopis, although Mukunda is intelligent and very obedient to his parents, once he has fallen under the spell of the honey-sweet words of the women of Mathura and been enchanted by their alluring shy smiles, how will he ever return to us unsophisticated village girls? When the Dasharas, Bhojas, and Dakas, and Vrishnis, and Sattvatas see the son of Devaki in Mathura, they will certainly enjoy a great festival for their eyes, and as will all those who see him traveling along the road to the city. After all, he is the darling of the goddess of fortune and the reservoir of all transcendental qualities. He who is doing this merciless deed should not be called Akrura. He is so extremely cruel that without even trying to console the sour, sorrowful residents of Braja, he is taking away Krishna, who is more dear to us than life itself. Hard-hearted Krishna has already mounted the chariot, and now the foolish cowherds are running after him in their bullock carts. Even the elders are saying nothing to stop him. Today, fate is working against us. Let us directly approach Madhava and stop him from going. What can our family elders and other relatives do to us? Now that fate is separating us from Mukunda, our hearts are already wretched, for we cannot bear to give up his association, even for the fraction of a second. When he brought us to the assembly of the Rasa dance, where we enjoyed his affectionate and charming smiles, his delightful secret talks, his playful glances, and his embraces, we passed many nights as if they were a single moment. O gopis, how can we possibly cross over the insurmountable darkness of his absence? How can we exist without Ananta's friend, Krishna? How can we exist without Ananta's friend, Krishna, who in the evening would return to Braja in the company of the cowherd boys, his hair and garland powdered with the dust raised by the cow's hoofs? As he played his flute, he would captivate our minds with his smiling, sidelong glances.
Would you like to read some more, Maharaj, or you want to pass it around? There is Krishna Dasi. All right.
I read 10.
Okay, that's fine. Krishna Dasi, it's good to see you there.
I know
How are you?
um
Okay.
yeah, I just got injury and I'm home. I'm not gone to work, but I'm fine.
Oh, good. Well, we're glad you're here with us tonight. Can you read a little bit for us? Would you be happy to?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, but where am I? I mean, I got lost. I
You're on
joined.
text 31, if I'm not mistaken.
Is it
Should be
38?
text 31.
But which chapter are we
Chapter
on?
39.
Oh, I that's why I was on 38.
Did that one.
So, text 31, you said,
Mhm.
Dad?
Yeah, read about 10 or maybe more if you like.
Okay, I can read more. Yes. Um, Shukadev Goswami said, after speaking these words, the ladies of Raja, who were so attached to Krishna, felt extremely agitated by their imminent separation from him. They forgot all shame and loudly cried out, O Govinda, O Damodar, O Madhava. But even as the gopis cried out in this way, Akrura, having at sunrise performed his morning worship and other duties, began to drive the chariot. Led by Nanda Maharaj, the cowherd men followed behind Lord Krishna in their wagons. The men brought along many offerings for the king, including clay pots filled with ghee and other milk products. With his glances, Lord Krishna somewhat pacified the gopis, and they also followed behind for some time. Then, hoping he would give them some instruction, they stood still. As he departed, that best of the Yadus saw how the gopis were lamenting, and thus he consoled them by sending a messenger with this loving promise: I will return. Sending their minds after Krishna, the gopis stood as motionless as figures in a painting. They remained there as long as the flap atop the chariot was visible, and even until they could no longer see the dust raised by the chariot wheels. The gopis then turned back without hope that Govinda would ever return to them. Full of sorrow, they began to spend their days and nights chanting about the pastimes of their beloved. My dear King, the Supreme Lord Krishna, traveling as swiftly as the wind in that chariot with Lord Balram and Akrura, arrived at the river Kalindi, which destroys all sins. The river's sweet water was more effulgent than brilliant jewels. After Lord Krishna had touched it for purification, he drank some from his hand. Then he had the chariot moved near a grove of trees and climbed back on along with Balram. Akrura asked the two lords to take their seats on the chariot. Then, taking their permission, he went to a pool in the Yamuna and took his bath as enjoined in the scriptures. While immersing himself in the water and reciting eternal mantras from the Vedas, Akrura suddenly saw Balram and Krishna before him. Akrura thought, how can the two sons of Anaka Dundav
Dundubi. Anaka Dundubi.
Anakaduntabi, who are sitting in the chariot, be standing here in the water. They must have left the chariot. But when he came out of the river, there they were on the chariot just as before, asking himself, was the vision I had of them in the water an illusion? Akrura re entered the pool. There Akrura now saw Anantashesha, the lord of the serpents, receiving praise from the Siddhas, Charanas, Gandharvas, and demons, who all had their heads bowed. The personality of Godhead, whom Akrura saw, had thousands of heads, thousands of hoods, and thousands of helmets. His blue garment and his fair complexion, as white as the filaments of a lotus stem, made him appear like white Kailash mountain with its many peaks. Akrura then saw the Supreme Personality of Godhead lying peacefully on the lap of Lord Anantashesha. The complexion of that Supreme Person was like a dark blue cloud. He wore yellow garments and had four arms and reddish lotus petal eyes. His face looked attractive and cheerful with its smiling, endearing glance and lovely eyebrows, its raised nose and finely formed ears, and its beautiful cheeks and reddish lips. The Lord's broad shoulders and expansive chest were beautiful, and his arms long and stout. His neck resembled a conch shell, his navel was deep, and his abdomen bore lines like those on a banyan leaf. He had large loins and hips, thighs like an elephant's trunk, and shapely knees and shanks. His raised ankles reflected the brilliant effulgence emanating from the nails on his petal like toes, which beautified his lotus feet. Adorned with a helmet, bracelets, and armlets, which were all bedecked with many priceless jewels, and also with a belt, a sacred thread, necklaces, ankle bells, and earrings. The Lord shone with dazzling effulgence. In one hand he held a lotus flower, in the others a conch shell, discus, and club. Gracing his chest were the Srivatsa mark, the brilliant Kaustubh gem, and a flower garland. Encircling the Lord and worshipping him were Nanda, Sunanda, and his other personal attendants, Shanaka and the other Kumaras, Brahma, Rudra, and other chief demigods, the nine chief Brahmanas, and the best of the saintly devotees, headed by Prahlad, Narada, and Uparichar Vasu. Each of these great personalities was worshipping the Lord by chanting sanctified words of praise in his own unique mode. Also in attendance were the Lord's principal internal potencies Shri, Pushti, Gir, Kanti, Kirti, Tushti, Ila, and Urja, as were his material potencies Vidya, Avidya, and Maya, and his internal pleasure potency Shakti. As the great devotee Akrura beheld all this, he became extremely pleased and felt enthused with transcendental devotion. His intense ecstasy caused his bodily hairs to stand on end and tears to flow from his eyes, drenching his entire body. Somehow, managing to steady himself, Akrura bowed his head to the ground. Then he joined his palms in supplication and, in a voice choked with emotion, very slowly and attentively began to pray.
Nice, beautiful. Thank you very much for that. What a wonderful chapter. There's only 30 verses in the next chapter, so I think we'll go ahead and just read that as well. Is Vamsi? Thank you, by the way, Krishna Dasi. Thank you.
Yes, Prabhuji.
Oh, you're there. There you are. Okay. Hey,
Krishna.
Vamsi, we're going to count on you to take us through the first 10 or 15, whatever feels good to you.
Sure, I will do that. Hare Krishna. Sri Akrura said, I bow down to you, the cause of all causes, the original and inexhaustible Supreme Person, Narayana. From the whirl of the lotus born from your navel, Brahma appears, and by his agency, this universe has come into being. earth, water, fire, air, ether, and its source, false ego, the Mahat Tattva, the total material nature, and her source, the Supreme Lord's Purusha expansion, the mind, the senses, the sense objects, and the senses presiding deities, all these causes of the cosmic manifestation are born from your transcendental body. The total material nature and these other elements of creation certainly cannot know you as you are, for they are manifested in the realm of dull matter. Since you are beyond the modes of nature, even Lord Brahma, who is bound by these modes, does not know your true identity. Pure yogis worship you, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, by conceiving of you in the threefold form comprising the living entities, the material elements that constitute the living entities' bodies, and the controlling deities of those elements. Brahmanas who follow the regulations concerning the three sacred fires worship you by chanting mantras from the three Vedas and performing elaborate fire sacrifices for the various demigods who have many forms and names. In pursuit of spiritual knowledge, some persons renounce all material activities and, having thus become peaceful, perform the sacrifices of philosophic investigation to worship you, the original form of all knowledge. And yet others, those whose intelligence is pure, follow the injunctions of the Vaishnava scriptures promulgated by you. Absorbing their mind in thoughts of you, they worship you as the one Supreme Lord manifesting in multiple forms. There are still others who worship you, the Supreme Lord, in the form of Lord Shiva. They follow the path described by him and interpreted in various ways by many teachers. But all these people, my Lord, even those who have turned their attention away from you and are worshipping other deities, are actually worshipping you alone, O embodiment of all the demigods. As rivers born from the mountains and filled by the rain flow from all sides into the sea, so do all these paths in the end reach you, O Master. Goodness, passion, and ignorance, the qualities of your material nature, entangle all conditional living beings from Brahma down to the non-moving creatures. I offer my obeisances to you, who, as the supreme soul of all beings, witness everyone's consciousness with unbiased vision. The current of your material modes produced by the force of ignorance flow strongly among the living beings who assume identities as demigods, humans, and animals. Fire is said to be your face, the earth your feet, the sun your eyes, and the sky your navel. The directions are your senses of hearing, the chief demigods your arms, and the ocean your abdomen. Heaven is thought to be your head, and the wind your vital air and physical strength. The trees and plants are the hairs on your body, the clouds the hairs on your head, and the mountains the bones and nails of you, the Supreme. The passage of day and night is the blinking of your eyes. The progenitor of mankind, your genitals, and the rain, your semen. All the worlds, with their presiding demigods and teeming populations, originate in you, the inexhaustible Supreme Personality of Godhead. These worlds travel within you, the basis of the mind and the senses, just as aquatics swim in the sea, or tiny insects burrow within an Udumbara fruit. Hare Krishna. Thank you.
You. Very wonderful. So who else has not read yet? Anybody? Oh, we want to go back around a little bit. So I think we're on text 6. What is it?
15 Pro.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. So, anybody else want to read? Maharaj, you'd like to read again? We'd love to hear your nice voice. Did you do that?
16.
Start from 16. Yeah.
To enjoy your pastimes, you manifest yourself in various forms in this material world. To enjoy your pastimes, you manifest yourself in various forms in this material world. And these incarnations cleanse away all the unhappiness of those who joyfully chant your glories. Offer my obeisances to you, the cause of the creation, Lord Matsya, who swam about in the ocean of dissolution, to Hayagriva, the killer of Madhu, and to Koitaba, the immense tortoise, and the killer of Madhu and Koitaba. Okay. To the immense tortoise, Lord Korma, who supported Mandara mountain, and to the boar incarnation, Lord Varaha, who enjoyed lifting the earth. Obeisance to you, the amazing lion, Lord Nrsimha, who remove your saintly devotees' fear, and to the dwarf Vamana, who stepped over the three worlds. Obeisance is to you, Lord of the Brigus, who cut down the forest of the conceited royal order, and to Lord Rama, the best of the Raghu dynasty, who put an end to the demon Ravana. Obeisance is to you, Lord of the Sattvatas, and to your forms of Vasudev, Sankarsha, Pradyumna, and Aniruddha. Obeisance is to your form as the faultless Lord Buddha, who will bewilder the Daityas and Danavas, and to Lord Kalki, the annihilator of the meat eaters posing as kings. O Supreme Lord, the living entities in this world are bewildered by your illusory energy, becoming involved in the false concepts of I and mine. They are forced to wander along the paths of fruitive work. I too am deluded in this way, O Almighty Lord, foolishly thinking my body, children, home, wife, money, and followers to be real, though they are actually as unreal as a dream. Thus mistaking the temporary for the eternal, my body for myself, and the sources of misery for sources of happiness, I have tried to take pleasure in material dualities, covered up in this way by ignorance. I could not recognize you as the real object of my love. Okay. And what you say, 5 more verses. I guess I should finish. Just as a fool overlooks a body of water covered by the vegetation growing in it and chases a mirage, so I have turned away from you. My intelligence is so crippled that I cannot find the strength to curb my mind. My intelligence is so crippled, yes, that I cannot find the strength to curb my mind, which is disturbed by material desires and activities, and constantly dragged here and there by my obstinate senses. Being thus fallen, I am approaching your feet for shelter, O Lord, because although the impure can never attain your feet, I think it is nevertheless possible by your mercy. Only when one's material life is ceased, O lotus-naveled Lord, can one become conscious of you by serving your pure devotees. Obeisance is to the Supreme Absolute Truth, the possessor of unlimited energies. He is the embodiment of pure transcendental knowledge, the source of all kinds of awareness, and the predominator of the forces of nature that rule over living beings. O Son of Vasudeva, obeisance is to you, within whom all living beings reside. O Lord of the mind and senses, again I offer my obeisances. O Master, please protect me, who am surrendered unto you. Look at the Sanskrit here. What does it say? Sanskrit says, Namaste Vasudevaya Sarvabhuta Kshayaya Cha Rishikesha Namastubhyam Prapannam Pahimam Prabhu. That
Very
ends
beautiful.
the translation. Okay. Yeah.
Did you read the translation?
I just did. That was, then I read the Sanskrit afterwards.
Okay. You did the Sanskrit in afterward. Okay, very good. Well, that's wonderful. 2 chapters tonight reading. And has anybody got any comments or any questions you want to start out with? Or you want me to recap some of this? Or how do you feel? Any comment, question, anything you got about these 2 different chapters? Okay, so if we go back to chapter 39, Akrura's vision, it does start out discussing, actually, let's look at that. It starts out discussing how after the evening meal, Lord Krishna, the son of Devaki and Akrura, he asked how Kamsa was treating. So Krishna had seated him in a nice place, offered him nice foodstuffs, all different types of delicious foodstuffs, and then offered him some nice herbs to cleanse his mouth, asked about his comfort, and gave him the correct seating and the proper worship, and then asked him to speak about how his treatment of his relatives and friends were going on with King Kamsa. And then he said, why would I even ask such a thing? Because we know that our so-called maternal uncle is actually prospering from exploiting all the citizens. And why should we even bother to ask about the well-being of our family members and the other subjects? Because see how much suffering, Krishna goes on to say, see how much suffering I have caused. And this is interesting that Krishna took this perspective. So he takes it upon himself, just like he did at the doorkeepers of Jai and Vijay when he came to actually talk to them, the Kumars. He said that I take this as my responsibility. If I've offended you, I would lob off my arm if it pleased you to do so. So he took complete responsibility for the activities of his servants, Jai and Vijay. And in this case, he's taking responsibility also for him causing this overall problem. Now, we know that the Lord's pastimes are designed to benefit everyone. Whatever their desires are, everyone is being completely fulfilled, whenever that is. The demons are being killed and they're being liberated and delivered, right? And the devotees, they have their way of offering the Lord their lives in surrender. And they are also suffering in so many ways. And we'll read about that in a minute when we get to the story about the gopis. And as Krishna is driving away in the chariot, they stay all the way until all the dust is even settled. And then they turn back completely miserable, wondering, will they ever see Krishna again? So if we go back and we look at this, we see that our dear friend Narada has been at it again. Okay? Narada has a tendency to stir up some trouble, right? So he had appeared actually to Kamsa and explained to him that the 2 boys, Krishna and Balaram, were alive and that they were sons of Nanda Maharaj and that they were going to kill him. So he immediately grabbed up Vasudeva. He was going to kill Vasudeva. He actually had plans to not only kill Vasudeva, but to kill his entire family, Devaki and everyone. And then he was going to go to see Nanda and kill all that dynasty. So this is the mindset of a demon. He even said he was going to kill his father, who he had usurped his kingdom, and had plans to kill his father to make his victory over these undesirable elements, as he saw them, complete. So we read from the chapter of divine and demoniac nature in the last chapters and discussed the attitude of the demon. So much wealth do I have now, so much more I have in the future. I've killed this enemy, and in the future I'll kill my other enemies. So this is their attitude, and we've read that in the previous chapters. So it says, in response to the Supreme Lord's request, Akrura, the descendant of Madhu, described the whole situation. He explained the entire situation, including King Kamsa's enmity towards the Yadus and his attempt to murder Vasudeva. So he relayed the message that he had been sent to deliver, and he told him the whole story and explained Kamsa's real intentions. and how Narada had been there and informed Kamsa about the whole story. So what did Krishna and Balaram do? If you look back and see what they did, they laughed. This is all their pastime. They're having a blast. They're having a lot of fun. Nobody can mess Krishna's fun up. He's having a good time, even when he's killing the demons, right? Because he knows everybody is being delivered in that way. So they simply heard the words of Akrura, and then they laughed, and then they informed their father Nanda Maharaj, and everybody in the community got together, got their caravans together, got all the best milk products to offer the king, and they brought the king all of this. They yoked their wagons up, they took off with Akrura and Krishna at daybreak, right after the morning ablutions and prayers. And this is when we see the gopis were not very happy with Akrura. They did not like the fact that Akrura had come to Vraja to take Krishna and Balaram to the city, and they actually became extremely distressed over this. And the gopis felt so pained about it that literally they're turning pale. Their faces are turning pale. They're exhausted from heavy breathing and their anxiety, and they're distressed. They were anguished, and even their bracelets, their braids, all these things became loosened on their body. And it seemed like they stopped their sensory activities entirely and fixed their meditation only on the Lord at this time. So they lost really all awareness of the material external world, just like one who attains the platform of self-realization. I thought that was a very good thing. Let me ask you guys a question. Have you ever been driving down a highway and you go for about 30 minutes and you were in another world? You didn't see the highway at all. You didn't see it. The body, everything was taking care of itself, but you didn't know how it happened. You were thinking about something completely a million miles away, and you covered miles and miles and miles. Has anybody ever done that? Maharaj, you don't do that. I know you don't do that. No, you do that because you get in a meditational state. The lines are coming, the road noises, bop, 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 you're going along. And so you're almost in a hypnotic state. So in this state, these gopis appeared completely stunned, and they appeared like figures in a painting. Think about that. So they're just stunned, And when we read these other chapters about Krishna and Balaram going through the forest and performing their activities, we see that the deer are stunned. Their ears are held erect. The cows are stunned, motionless. The trees literally are bowed to the ground to worship their feet. There are demigods on the path that Krishna is walking, offering oblations, offering obeisances to the Lord as the Lord passes. So these activities are very, very important and very informative to us, how we should actually act and how we should actually feel as well. So the gopis were frightened about this prospect, that separation from Krishna, and they remembered him in a very, very wonderful way. So text 17 and 18 in this chapter 39, I think are very, very important. And if you read that, you'll see that they were always remembering his pastimes, his affectionate, smiling glances they would remember, his heroic deeds they would recall, and they would remember his joking words. And when they did that, they got some relief from their distress. See what I mean? So this is the only way they were able to affiliate with Krishna after he had left. And they were beside themselves, literally in anxiety. And the thought of great separation, they couldn't hardly tolerate it. So their faces are covered with tears, and they were fully absorbed in achyuta, and they were remembrance of him. So this is very, very wonderful. In Bhagavad Gita in 9:14, it says, Satate kirtayanto mam yatantas cha dridhavratas. Mamashyantas chamam bhaktya nitya yukta apasate. And that means that these devotees are always chanting my glories. They're always endeavoring with great determination, and they're always bowing down before me. These great souls perpetually worship me with devotion. So when we look at Akrura's prayers, when we look at the gopis' prayers, when we go back through the Srimad Bhagavatam, we see that these are the types of personalities that Krishna has favored in his pastimes because they are always fixed on the Lord. So if we want to be favored by the Lord, we're going to have to do that as well. Those instructions are there by the Lord so that at the time of death in our lives, we can remember Krishna and go back home, back to Godhead, not have to come back again to this world of samsara, repeated birth and death. So Krishna goes on to advise us that yat karosi yarashnasi, yaj juhoshi dadasiyat, yat tapashyasi konteya, tat kurushva madaparam. And that means that all that you do, all that you eat, all that you offer or give away, as well as all the austerities that you perform, should be done solely as an offering unto me. So that's why we don't worship demigods. We don't worship any other form, because we know from Bhagavad Gita, Krishna says that when one worships the demigods, really, they're really worshiping in a wrong way, because I am the source of the demigods' power. So therefore, if they're worshiping the demigods and they don't include Krishna, we consider that, or it is considered to be atheism, because we don't accept the higher power which they then receive their powers from. So we have to be very, very careful not to do that. And we see that in the Karmakanda process in Hinduism. They going to the demigods over and over and over to get temporary benefits within the material world. But Krishna goes on to explain, and even Akrura says this in this next chapter. He says that if a person goes to the demigods for these things, they're not really getting anything. But the demigods themselves are affected by the modes of nature, even all the way up to Brahma. And even Lord Brahma dies. So if that's the case, anything within the material, Brahma Bhuvanal Loka, Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita. So whatever you want in the material world, you should go to Krishna for it. Whatever you want in the spiritual world, you should go to Krishna for that. Krishna explains that in Bhagavad Gita. So they were mad at Akrura. They felt like he had done a merciless deed, and they were very unhappy. At one point, the gopis were so unhappy with their eyelids that they cursed the Creator, because they said, how is it possible that the Creator would make these eyelids, which breaks our vision of the Lord? Why would he do such a thing? So they criticized Krishna himself in that situation. You might find that the gopis can really get down on Krishna sometimes. Sometimes they can give him, they can give him a little bit of a hard way to go. And so they're talking about his whimsical play. And they say that what Krishna is doing is like a child's game, and he's playing with us. He says, do you have no mercy on us? You bring all these embodied creatures together in friendship and in love, and then senselessly separate them before they fulfill their desire. So this is the gopis' attitude at this point. They're very unhappy. But then they go on remembering Krishna, his beautiful dark locks, beautified by his cheeks, his gentle smiles, all of these things, his raised nose, this and that. And those things eradicate all misery. But now Krishna is making his face invisible to them. And so they say, this behavior of yours is not at all good. So they give him a hard way to go about that. And they're talking about Akrura. They call him Providence. In other words, he's come to enact the will of the Lord of Providence, and they don't like it. And they say that he's indeed cruel. For a fool, like a fool, you're taking away what you once gave us. So there you go. So they're very unhappy about that. And they say that Nanda's son breaks his loving friendships in a second, and he will not even look directly at us while he's doing it. So Krishna is leaving them. So they're following along as he is leaving. And as he leaves, they're crying, and their tears are coming down. And they say to the Lord, hard-hearted Krishna, they call it. Hard-hearted Krishna has already mounted the chariot. He's already on it. And now the foolish cowherds are hurrying after him in their bullock carts. So they're very, very unhappy. They run out to try to stop him, but they say that today fate is working against us. So they're in misery, and Krishna is leaving. And so they said, now that fate is separating us from Mukunda, our hearts are already wretched, for we cannot bear to give up his association, even for a fraction of a second. So this is the attitude that we're supposed to have. Krishna does say that. Manmana bhava madbhakto majiji nam namaskuru mami vaishashiyutvaivam atmanam matparayana. So just engage your mind always in thinking of me. Offer your obeisances and worship me, and being absorbed in me, surely you will come to me. So Krishna has a method to this madness, right? The gopis may not understand it, but by Krishna leaving this way, which he's done multiple times, even in a rasa dance, because they had pride, and bang, he was gone. He left immediately when he felt their pride. But Krishna does this to vanquish all these negative emotions and bring about the proper loving sentiment and desire that we should have for the Lord, being completely absorbed in him. Surely we will come to him. And so they go, they're leaving, but Krishna's kind enough. He realizes their pain and suffering. So what does he do? What does he do? Does anybody know what Krishna does to kind of let the gopis down easy? Yeah, I'll tell you what he does. He gets a messenger, and he gets a message to the messenger, and that message is, quote, I will return, unquote. So remember that one, I will return, because those are Krishna's words to the gopis as he was breaking their hearts into little pieces, shattering their hearts. He does go on, though. Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, we all know this wonderful verse, Tesham satata yuktanam, bhajatam priti purvakam, dadami buddhi yogam tam, jainamam upayanti te. To those who constantly worship me with devotion and love, I give the understanding by which they can come to me. So when Krishna is leaving, he's actually bringing them closer to him. He's not actually putting them away. He's actually bringing them closer in this devotional mood, which is appropriate for us to develop, because that's the whole purport of his coming, is to bring us home. He's bringing us home, but he's so intelligent, we don't understand how he's doing it. So if we look at the end of this chapter, it's very cool. Akrura is taking a bath, and Krishna and Balarama are on the chariot, and he's taking his bath, but he sees them in front of him. And if you look at this, when he sees them in front of him, he's amazed. He's wondering, wow, what is this, a vision, or what has happened? So he actually goes back to the chariot, and they're there. They're on the chariot. But when he comes back, he sees them, he sees Krishna and Balaram being worshipped by all of these amazing prayers from so many varieties of demigods and so many things. And he describes it wonderfully, what he looks like. So he sees it, first of all, he sees Anantashesha. And he describes Anantashesha. If you ever want to know about Anantashesha, you go to Akrura's words. You don't know exactly what is Anantashesha. He describes it perfectly what that is. And when he saw Anantashesha, the Lord of the serpents, receiving praise from the Siddhas, the Charanas, the Gandharvas, and even the demons, it said, had their heads bowed to the Lord. Personality of Godhead, whom Akrura saw, had thousands of heads, thousands of hoods, thousands of helmets. Now, does this remind you of the vision that Arjuna had when he said, what is that wonderful verse? He says, help me think of that verse where he says, he sees the Lord with all these helmets and stuff and faces, what is that verse? He says, Brahma Bhutta Prasanatma Nasochichi. That's not it. What's the verse I'm thinking about after Arjuna says that? Does anybody remember? I can't remember right now. Anyway, what he says is that all the great sages like Vyas, Devala, all of these persons had said who the Lord was. Now the Lord is declaring it directly to him. So, in the same way, they are seeing the Lord. He's almost seeing the same vision that Arjuna had, it seems like to me. And he goes on and he says that then later he sees the Supreme Personality of Godhead lying comfortably and peacefully on the lap of an Antashesha. He goes on to describe the look of the Lord. Dark blue cloud, wore yellow garments, had four arms, reddish, lotus petal eyes. He goes on talking about how his face looked attractive and cheerful, how it was smiling, endearing glances, and lovely eyebrows, raised nose, finely formed ears, beautiful cheeks, reddish lips, the Lord's broad shoulders, expansive chest, beautiful arms, long and stout, neck resembled a conch shell. His navel was deep, abdomen bore lines of the banyan leaf, those on a banyan leaf, like those on a banyan leaf. Talks about his loins being like the thighs like the elephant's trunks, his shapely knees, his shanks, his raised ankles. He talks about reflected the brilliant effulgence emanating from the nails on his petal-like toes, which beautified his lotus feet. Guys, it doesn't go get much better. If you want to know who is Krishna, you got to go to Akrura. He'll tell you. He says he's adorned with a helmet, bracelets, armlets, all bedecked with priceless jewels, a belt, a sacred thread, necklaces, ankle bells, earrings. The Lord shone with dazzling effulgence. Come on. It's feeling pretty good, isn't it? So it said in his hand, he had a lotus flower. In the other hands, he had a conch shell, disc, and club. Where do we find that at? Throughout the entire Srimad Bhagavatam. Everywhere we go, this description of God. So even when I was talking to a yogi the other day, she's talking about the Yoga Sutras, Patanjali's Yoga Sutras. In the very last verses of that, he talks about samadhi. What is samadhi? Samadhi is meditating on these features of the Lord in his personal appearance. And you can understand that through Akrura, who had perfect vision of the Lord directly in front of him, given this vision very much like Arjuna had, very much like Mother Yasoda had when she opened the mouth of baby Krishna and saw the universes like that. This Krishna does over and over and over again. And he did this with Akrura and gave him a blessing by doing that. Talked about the Marco Srivat's Kastubhajiyam and his flower garland and so forth and so on. All of these things are there. And who were there with him? You remember who came for the party? The Kumaras. Brahma was there. Rudra, Shiva himself was there. All the other chief demigods were present. The 9 chief Brahmanas, the best of the saintly devotees, headed by Prahlad, Narada, they were all there. Now, guys, this is strong stuff. We don't see them appearing that much throughout Bhagavatam. So this is one a description where we see that. So after Akrura saw this, he became extremely pleased. He felt completely enthused with transcendental devotion. His body was affected by intense ecstasy, and his hair was standing on end. He was experiencing horripilations, drenching tears from his eyes, drenched his entire body. So what did Akrura do? He bowed his head to the ground and he joined his palms in supplication to the Lord, and in a voice choked with emotion, very attentively, he began to pray, which takes us to the next chapter, chapter 40. And if you read this chapter, you'll find the realization of the pure devotee of the Lord. You'll find the realization and description of the pure devotee of the Lord. And he goes on to say that pure yogis worship you. He also describes the various paths of yoga. Okay? And he goes, and one verse I really love, he says, and yet others, he goes on to talk about these different types of worship. Pure yogis worship you. It says that brahmanas follow the regulations concerning the sacrificial fire, worship you by chanting mantras. And he talks about in pursuit of spiritual knowledge, some people renounce all material activities, and having thus become peaceful, they perform sacrifice of philosophical investigation to worship you. So this is what we're required. He's talking particularly here probably about Jnana yogis. And yet others, he says, follow the injunction of the Vaishnava scriptures promulgated by you, and absorbing their minds and thought of you, they worship you as the one supreme Lord, although manifesting in various forms. Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, Tesham Ivan Upartanam Aham Arjuna Jam Tamaha. Out of compassion for them, I dwelling in their hearts, destroy with a shining lamp of knowledge the darkness born of ignorance. So Krishna is doing this for everyone. Doesn't matter what their path is. It says here, there are still others who worship you, the Supreme Lord, in the form of Shiva. Now, I was reading the other day, and you could probably Google this, but really only about 18% of India are Shivites. And the main religion of India is Vaishnavism. They worship one God, Vishnu or Krishna. And then there's some little small portion for the Jains and other different types of religions that you might find. But Shiva is worshiped because Shiva is known to give blessings even to the most abominable sorts, ghosts and demons and all different kinds of things. And he's very compassionate. So he's talking about they worship him as Shiva. And but all these people, Akrura is saying, all these people, even those who have turned their attention away from you and are worshiping other demons, are actually just worshiping you alone, because you are the embodiment of all the demigods. So I thought that was very cool. And he goes on to explain that even Brahma and all the other living beings, all down to the even non-moving creatures, are all affected by goodness, passion, and ignorance. And we see that throughout the Vedic literature, where the demigods get themselves in trouble, get entangled, in trouble. Indra, he's pretty frequent about that. Even Brahma, he tried to steal the cowherd boys and the cows. We see even Brahma chased after the hind. So if you think about it, I mean, our condition is that we need the mercy of the Lord. Because if you're planning on becoming a sadhana city, I'm hoping you're doing that. You know what I mean? But a Kripa city means that we're going to receive Krishna's mercy. So if we look on, I won't get to this part at the end, but I want to cover one part. I don't know what time it is either. What time is it, guys? Oh, it's 8:01. So I'll try to wrap it up. So it says, he goes on and just describes the Virata Rupa again. A wonderful thing. He talks about the vital air, the physical strength, plants and the hairs on your body. The clouds are the hair on your head, and mountains, the bones and nails. He talks about all this like the Virata Rupa. He talks about the rain is your semen. He just goes through the whole thing there with very wonderful, full realization of the Lord, standing in front of the Lord, offering these prayers. And he says, to enjoy your pastimes, you manifest in various forms in the material world, and all these incarnations cleanse away the unhappiness of those who joyfully chant your glories. So we got to chant the Lord's glories. And so he goes on to say, I offer my obeisances to you. And he discusses briefly all of the incarnations of the Lord, all the avatars. So if you look at what is it? 17 and 18, he goes on, he talks about Lord Matsya, he talks about Hayagriva, he talks about Lord Kurma, he talks about Lord Varaha, he talks about Lord Nrsingadev, he talks about Vamana, he talks about Lord Rama, and He also talks about the Lord's forms as Vasudeva, Sankarshan, Pradyumna, and Aniruddha. And then he talks about Lord Buddha. And then he talks about Lord Kalki. So he's actually covered everything that we've been spending 2 years in about 2 minutes. We spent 2 years studying these incarnations, and here Akrura lays it out just like blazed lightning, man. He's like, boy, here you go. So he talks about all these wonderful incarnations of the Lord, and he offers his obeisances to those. And he says that we're all bewildered, all of us, under the Lord's illusory energy. We become involved in these concepts of I and my, and we're forced to wander along the paths of fruitive reaction. Now, how does that feel to you? We see fruitive reaction culminating in our karmic retribution, which we have created. And he goes on to say that I too am deluded in this way. Akrura is standing before God, and he confesses to the Lord right there, I am deluded in this way. I am foolishly thinking on my body, that my children are mine, that my home is mine, that my wife is mine, that my money is mine, that my followers are real. But then he says, when actually they're as unreal as a dream. Prabhupada said, you go to bed at night, you dream, you wake up to another dream. What will your next be dreaming after you die? What will that dream be? So we want to eat, sleep, drink, think Krishna all the time. We've got 9 devotional processes to keep us busy throughout the day. Everything you see, you have to offer it to Krishna. Everything you eat, you have to offer it to Krishna. Everything you give away in charity, that's done for Krishna. All of these things are done for Krishna, and you see Krishna in everything you see. That's called Sankhya Yoga, and it's very well described by Kapila. And anybody who wants to find that, we've described that chapter also. That's another incarnation of God. So he says that he mistook his material body for himself, that he's tried to take pleasure in the material dualities, that he's covered by ignorance. And as a result, he could not recognize the object of his love, which is Krishna. He couldn't see the object. He said, just as a fool overlooks a body of water covered by vegetation growing in it, or someone who chases a mirage, I have turned away from you. I have turned away from you. He goes on to say, my intelligence is crippled. He cannot find the strength to curb his mind, which is disturbed by unlimited, incessant material desires and activities, which are constantly dragging him here and there, and by his obstinate senses in an effort to fulfill them. So what does he do? What does he do? In text 28, I would recommend you read this one again and again and again and again. Being thus fallen, I am approaching your feet for shelter. Although the impure can never attain your feet, I think it's nevertheless possible only by your mercy. So there's the story. Kripa Siddha. He's a Kripa Siddha. He said he can develop devotional service by serving your pure devotees. So we develop our devotional service by following in the path of the parampara. And by understanding what the pure devotee is doing, we can understand how to please Krishna. So, O son of Vasudeva, all obeisances to you, within whom all living beings reside. O Lord of the mind and senses, Hrishikesh, again I offer you my obeisances. Please protect me, who am a soul surrendered unto you. Akrura has set the appropriate example for us tonight. And Krishna says in 1154, Bhaktya Twananyayasakya Ham Evam Vidorjuna Gyantum Drashtum Chitatvena Pravestum cha parantapa. And that means, my dear Arjuna, only by undivided devotional service can I ever be understood as I am standing before you, and can thus be seen directly. Only in this way can you enter into the mysteries of my understanding. Krishna is very clear about that. So he goes on to say, well, we're not going to read that. I don't want to read that one. But he goes on to say, he can only be understood by devotional service. He says it again in 1855. He says, Bhaktya mam abhijananti, yavanyas chasmi tatmataha, tato mang tatvato gyadva, visite tadanantaram. One can understand the Supreme Personality of Godhead as he is only by devotional service. And when one is full of such devotion, he can actually enter into the kingdom of God. What? So he does make a recommendation, and he says, and I'll leave you with this today. He says in finishing, and he finishes Bhagavad Gita like this too. He says, Sarvadharma prajaja mamekam saranam braja ham tvam sarva pabbebhyo moksha ishami mahasuchaha. And that is, you should abandon all varieties of religion or mental concoction, whatever path you think it is. Just abandon it all and just surrender to me. I'll deliver you from all sinful reactions. There is no cause of your fear. So, guys, I think it was a great 2 chapters. I'm so grateful that you were with me tonight to hear these chapters, and anybody who hears this in the future, be blessed by Akrura's pure devotion and by his realization and his prayers, and by those wonderful gopis who are kind of mad at Krishna for leaving, because they need to see the Lord. And the Bible, it says, the pure at heart shall see God. All these people have seen God. Do you think they're pure at heart? Yes. So why was Akrura saying he's crippled? He's crippled by these desires. If you look at all of the prayers of the great Vaishnava devotees of the Lord, it all starts out that I have no qualification. I don't deserve to be here. I'm a wretched soul. I'm fallen in the material world. I can't get up. I've fallen and I can't get up. Please pick me up, Lord. Place me as an atom at your lotus feet. You can read that. Shlishava parvatam panastumam adarsanam marma hatam karotuba. You can read this in the prayers of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, who is talking like this, who has these realizations. You can see it in Narottam Das, Jiva Goswami, Bhaktivinoda Thakur. I can go on and on and on. Look at the prayers of Srila Prabhupada, our illustrious, magnificent guru, Jagat Guru, and what he had to say when he arrived in Boston Harbor. So all of these things are there for your purification and for your correction. So please take advantage. And I'll leave you with these following words. Does anybody have any questions I should ask? Anything you want to make a comment on, or any question you have real quick, we'll do, because we're running out of time.
I have a comment real quick.
Please.
When you just said earlier that Prabhupada said it's a night dream and a day dream, of course, I've heard this for decades. But is that just to say that this is so temporary that it feels like a dream? Or am I really dreaming this and I'm watching you right now and I'm dreaming right now?
Well, that's an excellent, excellent question. Thank you very much for that. In Bhagavad Gita, Krishna explains it fully. He says that the soul is seated on a chariot made of material energy. You are not the doer. All you're doing is desiring, and Krishna is creating this around you. In night, it's a subtle dream. In the day, it's a gross dream. That's the only difference. They're both dreams, and they're dreams that you had that manifested this reality before you. So right now, you're manifesting a new reality, and that reality is actually a permanent reality because it's based in absolute truth. And that absolute truth is what we call Bhagavad Dharma. Bhagavad Dharma. In other words, what's the function of the soul? To serve Bhagavat, to serve God. By doing that, you're no longer in a dream. You're in reality, an eternal reality. and you can participate in any way you like. These great demigods are coming down to participate with the Lord at Gokula Vrindavan, and they're having an opportunity to see God directly. So if they do like that and they're involved like that, they're going back home. Maybe they were in the material world for a long time and achieved that mode of Sudasattva, pure goodness, or at least the mode of sattva, and they were in goodness, and therefore they're increasing their devotion. When a mother cow went to the milk ocean and she prayed Purusha Shukta with Brahman, everyone there, Krishna told them all, take a birth, come on to the material world, we're going to have a party. And if you look at the avatars that have come again and again and again, they all came and their entourages were all there. They were all delivered. All of them delivered. And in the very end, Kalki comes to deliver whoever's left. This is God's ultimate kindness and mercy upon each and every one of us, that he will not leave us and he will not abandon us. And he will continually nudge us in the right direction. But if we want to have mentally concocted dreams, thinking that we can enjoy this material world in some way, you'll also experience the pain and suffering in the material world. So when you've had enough of that duplicity, of that yin-yang situation, then you want to go to the pure goodness platform. Pure goodness means every act, every thought, every word, every deed, everything belongs to Krishna, and I'm his servant. I offer myself as his servant in humility, and I beg for his mercy upon me. Even though I'm unworthy, unqualified, unfit, undeserving, the spiritual master still comes to this hellish world that we're living in and suffers here to deliver us. So we should take advantage of that, and we should be very, very grateful that the spiritual master has come, and we should get involved. And then our dream will only be Krishna and the pastimes that are eternal, instead of this temporary phantasmagoria caused by mental concoction. So I hope that helps you out. Krishna said, Sarvadharma Prityaja, Mami Kam Sadanambraja. In other words, abandon all these varieties of religion and just surrender to me. Give up this nonsense. And so that's the answer that you're looking for, is yes, it is a dream. Prabhupada said, you're waking from a dream to another dream. And these are dreams, material dreams that you had of sense enjoyment. How's that working out for you, by the way? Think about it.
Oh, it's working out pretty good. I met Vamsi, so it had to work out pretty good to the truth.
Vamsi is a transcendentalist. That's not a material enjoyment. That's a spiritual enjoyment. Just seeing Vamsi is enjoyable. Look at it.
Prabhuji, I have a question regarding Akrura's love for Krishna. Is it in Sakya, Dasya, Madhurya, or Vatsalya? What is it?
What's
I
his
know
relationship?
his relationship with Krishna. I know he's known for
Dasharas.
Vandana because like of the 9 processes of bhakti, I've heard that he's the Acharya for Vandana because he's really bowing down to the Lord and rolling in the sand and the dust of Vrindavan. So what could his actual relationship with Krishna? Because he right now he's having a vision of the Virat Roop, which is again thought of as material. We know Arjuna, when he saw the universal form, he said, "Sorry, Krishna, I don't want to see this. I just want you in your 2-hand form. I love you as a person." And not for the magnificence of your different energies. So Akrura, did he see the form of the Lord just to understand that this is not like the ordinary brothers who are sitting on a chariot? But he already knew that while coming. We knew that he was rolling on the dust. He was really having that relationship with Krishna. Even though he didn't see the childhood pastimes of Krishna, but he was clearly a devotee of Krishna. But now he's having a vision of Lord Narayan and Ananta Shesha, Lord Vishnu. So what can we understand from that?
Well, the only thing I could take from his words is he calls Krishna his master.
Hmm.
And he does that several times, actually. He describes the Lord as, oh, my master. In other words, so it means, it indicates dasharas, obviously, but there's two different levels of dasharas. One is not as intimate. One is these devotees, and their names are in the Vedas. You can find their names. They're standing at the gate of Dwarka waiting for the instruction of the Lord.
Mm.
And they're just servants of the Lord. Whatever he wants, they're sold out. They'll go immediately to battle. Whatever they want, they're willing to die for the Lord, whatever his suggestion might be. But then there's another form of dasharas, which is higher. And that is that I have to protect Krishna.
Mm.
You see what I'm saying? So they go from dasha almost to sakyaras. In other words, it bleeds over. I don't know that there's a defining line. I mean, I think that you could get a little bit of quality of both, actually.
Mm-hmm.
And so Sakyaras means that he is a friend to Krishna. So in many ways, he's been a friend to Krishna, and he was received as a friend. Well, he was a messenger. He was a messenger from Kamsa. He worked for the demon Kamsa. But when he saw that his service was allowed to see the Lord, he thought, I'm the most blessed of anyone, because even though I'm in this environment, but he was a devotee, a great, great, great devotee, even though he's in that environment. And that's why Kamsa sent him, because he told him, he said, Akrura, you always carry out your mission. You're always dedicated and devoted. He told him that. That's why I selected you to go deliver this message to Krishna. When he got there, he spilled the beans. He spilled the beans. He said, look, Narada came. He was going to kill Vyasa. He was going to kill your father. You know, all of this. He was talking about all this. And so he kind of told him as a friend, and they treated him as a friend. They set him in a nice seat, and they washed his feet. Come on. The Lord do that? How high was Akrura's position? We can't even know. We can't even imagine how devoted Akrura was. And if you read Akrura's meditation when he's going to Vrindavan and he's talking about Krishna, it will cause you to cry. I mean, you sit there and just tears will come out of your eyes, because he's already envisioning what he's going to do when he gets there and when he sees the Lord and how the Lord's going to receive him. He's going through this meditation. Why can't we? This was prior to his meeting with the Lord, and he still was doing it. See what I'm saying? So our goal is to use our minds and our words and our body and our facilities and our home and our family and our money and our food and everything that we have. Our job is to dedicate that in the service of the spiritual master. You can't serve Krishna directly. You're not qualified to serve Krishna directly. When we offer our food, we're offering it through Srila Prabhupada. It's just like, if you want to meet Krishna, you got to get Radharani's mercy, right? So the idea is we're not qualified, but if Radharani goes, hey, this is somebody who loves you, Krishna goes, definitely bring him on in. Just bring him on in. So all you need is a good reference. You get a good reference, and then you're going back home, back to God. So I don't know if that explained what it was, because I don't know that that's been defined clearly, but I would say, based on the activities of Akrura, I would say that he's somewhere in between those two rasas.
Yeah.
And I don't know that rasas are something that's fixed that you have to do. It's something you may change over time. Who knows? I've heard that, at least.
And Akrura is also, he'll come back later, right? In Dwaraka Leela, we know that he gets entangled in the whole Samantaka jewel, and there is something we'll probably learn later. But it seems like he is in awe and reverence to the Lord more than
Definitely. More than friendship.
Yeah.
Definitely. Yeah, I would say that. I'd say it might bleed over a little bit, but I would say dasharas, but a very, very, very high state of that, very high. So, and he was watching when his vision was actually of four-handed Narayan on an Shesha.
Yeah.
So he had been with Krishna and Balaram, and he saw them, but when he came back to see them, now there's an Antashesha. And now there's Narayan lying comfortably on the bed of an Antashesha. So that's dasharas, man. That's dasharas. But I see some friendship in there too, don't you?
Yeah.
Because he's driving Krishna, he's taking him, he's taking good care of him, and
Yeah.
they show him friendship.
Mhm.
They show him great friendship. So that's
Mhm.
that's about
Thank you so much. Hare
yeah.
Krishna.
All right. Well, thank you guys so much. Thank you for your excellent questions. Thank you for a wonderful evening of Krishna Katha. And this is really all we're supposed to be doing. It's too bad there's not 100 million other people listening in, because this is really to their benefit. We're taking, I almost feel like a miser. I'm taking all the mercy here. I want to give it out. I don't want to just keep it. They say the more you give, the more you receive. So that's why we're disseminating these books, this information. That's why we're trying to build temples for the Lord, distribute prasadam, we worship the deities, like that. So thank you so much for coming. Repeat after me. Hare Krishna.
Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Krishna Krishna.
Krishna Krishna.
Krishna
Hare
Krishna.
Hare
Hare
Hare.
Hare Hare.
Rama.
Hare
Rama,
Hare
Rama.
Rama.
Hare Rama.
Hare
Rama,
Rama.
Hare Rama.
Rama Rama.
Rama,
Rama Rama.
Rama Rama.
Hare Hare.
Hare Hare.
Thank you guys again. Please pray for me. I need all your prayers, so please do that. Okay, we're trying to do some service here for Krishna, and we're not qualified, so we're just doing the best we can. So if you don't mind, pray to Krishna that we might get a little bit of Kripa Siddha, if you don't mind, because I could use the mercy. Thank you very much. I'll see you next time. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Bol.